Well, hello, fellow YouTube subscribers. Watched a movie a long time ago called The Butterfly Effect. It really wasn't kind of what I was looking for, but I want to talk about the butterfly effect. That the flapping of a butterfly's wings can change the weather halfway around the world. Okay, now most people would say that doesn't make any sense. How could that even? Well, I would agree with that, but take, for example, a rock in a stream, okay? And in the early spring, the rock is pretty smooth. But as summer comes, it starts to get moss and green. Well, that's going to change how the water flows over that rock. You know what I'm saying? So, and that could lead to other things like maybe, fish living where the water's a little calmer now, you know? Uh, that's kind of a butterfly effect to a certain extent. To a certain extent, not really too much, you know. I don't know about the whole butterfly flapping its wings and changing the weather halfway around the world, But I think on a smaller scale, there are, maybe something comes along and eats that moss or that plant that's living there because the moss has slowed the water down enough to where the plant can get roots and, and depending on what year it is, the different animals passing through there might or might not eat the plant, and then it just goes from there, as far as the kind of the butterfly effect could definitely affect other things, if that plant wasn't there, maybe there's a certain pollen in that plant and it feeds a certain bee, and that bee doesn't do really well that year for whatever reason because there's a lot of these plants that just didn't make it, and now the bats or whatever that eats the bees, now they're struggling, so I can see where it could somewhat be kind of chaotic and butterfly effect to a certain extent, but not, I don't believe, butterfly wings flapping. The whole theory behind that is it flaps its wings, kind of, is what I've been told. And then, all the butterflies floop up and then all the birds floop around and they cause currents and, it gets pretty out there actually. But it's kind of the same thing as kind of the flat earth thing. Looked into that a little bit actually. They do have some good valid points actually. And I think biblically there's something in the Bible about the earth sets on four pillars too, actually, too. But yeah, they do have some valid points actually, and I don't know what to say about that other than, if the world is not a sphere and it truly is flat, and everybody's in on it then, and nobody's let the secret out of the bag, so to speak. I mean, no leaked pictures per se, no like proof like from NASA or anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no whistleblowers, that I know of. Maybe somebody could share a link with me. I'd love to watch a whistleblower that worked for NASA and comes out now and says that the world is flat. I would love to hear a video like that. I mean, that'd be right up my alley, actually. It doesn't mean I have to agree with it, but I do like seeing different points of view that people have. It seems like anymore nobody wants to have a simple conversation or even a debate and, walk away with it just like, wow, I never thought of looking at it that way. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. But I feel, for myself anyways, that if I don't at least listen to what somebody has to say and process it a little bit and think, wow, it's out there a bit, but possible, you know? That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you're goofy or should be labeled something, you know, even if it's so outlandish and you can prove with scientific evidence that they're wrong, still have a conversation and a debate about what they're passionate about, and you know, and keep it on good level. You know, don't raise your voices, don't call names. You know, just hear one another out. You know, simple enough. But we don't do that no more. We get on Facebook and we have to bash everybody, and everybody's bashing everybody. And you know, once in a while, somebody posts a picture of a food recipe that nobody probably ever freaking makes in their freaking entire life, you know, or a funny meme once in a while. But even those, you know, are people getting banned, put in Facebook jail for a meme, you know, Facebook jail because they call somebody a bad name, not even a derogatory name per se, you know, unbelievable.